Hello. Thank you for inviting us once again. And as she said, my name is Patrick Mizher. I'm a partner at BLANKPAGE Architects. BLANKPAGE is a design studio based in Beirut and was founded by myself, Karim Nader, and Walid Ghantous. And contrary to rumors, BLANKPAGE is not tabula rasa. It's rather no preconceptions of form or style, but rather an intention to create contextually relevant and situation-specific projects. To convey this process and approach, I will skim very quickly through a series of recent projects, which leads up somehow to our entry for this competition, which is the AMCHIT Villa. Sorry. This is Shiyeh 765. It's a project that's located on a prominent corner. It combines a commercial podium and typical office plates that can be sold to one tenant or two tenants. So we voided the corner to provide advantageous view to both tenants, and we devised a sort of an exoskeleton, an aluminum exoskeleton, that brings a coherence to the building and also is a support in the future for planters, signage, and external shaders. This project, Clos du Phoenix, is basically a low-cost winery in an idyllic village in Batroun. So the site, which was already very small, contained an existing old Lebanese stone house, which used to be a goat house, basically. And the only possibility for placing the new factory was to put it on top of the old stone house, which eventually became a wine cellar. So the volume is really very simple due to limited budget. It's rough cast concrete directly painted in burgundy red. There's a staircase that links all the levels together. This is the roof. There's a terrace which hosts wine tasting events, and they have a really privileged view of the sea and the horizon. This is a view, south view from the loading docks. Okay, this is Naoura Public School. We were invited by a local NGO in Lebanon to help them with the refurbishment and renovation of the school. Now, if the winery was low budget, this was an extremely, ridiculously low budget, which included the photovoltaic panels. So our intervention consisted mainly of programmatic reshuffling, and on the interior, we used like color coding to define the various classes and the age groups. This is a library. For example, the material is the recycled wood that we took from the old furniture to make the library. The facade is enlivened by stencils, which, like in a surreal way, you have mechanical diagrams, fragments of poems on other sides. Tahan Villa. So basically, this is our take on a modern Lebanese suburban house. It's located on a slopey terrain, which basically has an exceptional view of the Jounieh Bay. So you have a transparent ground floor which accommodates the reception areas, and it is constituted of various platforms which try to adapt to take in the various levels. So we wanted to minimize excavation. And above it, you have a hovering volume of stone which basically accommodates the residential, the roofs. So building law says stone cladding and red tiled roof, pitched red tiled roof. We say let's mount the fragments of stone on sliding panels and make of it some sort of a dynamic stone sharabia which controls exposure and light. And on the roof, we used the material of the red tile, but we used it as a pergola, as a blade, and made of it a pergola and placed a painting studio for the white. In this image, you can see that at night, the light really dematerializes the stone even more. And in this image over there, you can see the shadow pattern created by the stone. And finally, this is the Al Khalil Beach House. Basically, this is really close to AMCHIT. Again, it's located on the seashore. The contrast is that this project would be considered as a mini boutique hotel accommodating a family of 4. So basically, due to the large built-up area, we were obliged to split the volume into 2 wings in order to provide sea view for all the spaces. And by splitting the 2 wings, we created a central courtyard, which 1 opens up to the sea, and 2 constitutes an access to the villa all the way down to the seashore. And the 2 wings are in fact combined on the ground floor and united by public reception areas, and flying bridges. This is a view of the central courtyard while going down to the sea. Immediately, both wings directly establish a relation with the horizon. You can see also external circulations like the stairs. The building, the interesting thing is that the building is clad in reconstituted marble, and we made sure that the aggregate patterns in the marble really hint at the pebbles on the seashore. And in this image, basically this is a crane view. The circulation will eventually extend all the activities up on the roof, which becomes a sort of a lounge overlooking the site. And finally, this is AMCHIT Villa. So I'm going to be telling you a story about how a simple brief from the client who just wanted a chilled out beach house on the sea really took a radical turn for, as one famous author would say, it was the best of sites, it was the worst of sites. It's a story about a project that should not have existed, but ended up being some sort of a poetic machine to enjoy the beach. And it was really generated by a very simple but powerful horizontal gesture over the site. But the deceptive simplicity was in fact the resultant of the mess created by legal ambiguity, construction challenges, and even marital problems, but we shall skip that part. And so I'm going to elaborate. AMCHIT is located 40 kilometers on the old, north of Beirut, on the old coastal road to Tripoli. This is the site. It contained already an old decaying building, really tucked in between the landscape. This is a front view of the building, and you can see over there, it really has a direct access through the stairs to the sea. Another view, this is the main approach from the road. And you can notice that the slope is really sloping downwards. The site is sloping downwards. Okay, so this is the existing conditions of the site. So as happens very often in Lebanon, this site was developed and built during the chaotic years of the Lebanese wars with absolutely no regard for whatever laws, building laws, or actual feasibility of building on the site. So what happens is that when the client bought the site and came to us, we found out that this site, according to the current building law, was totally unbuildable. So before we even started designing, we had to deploy skills of negotiations and try to find a way to creatively interpret the building laws. Okay, here on this site, we applied the site limits as they are, and the setbacks as they are supposed to be. So you notice 2 things. Basically, on the north side upwards, the building is actually protruding on our neighbor. And by applying the setbacks, as I said, you will see a very thin rectangle in the middle. This is where we are obliged to build. This is the only legal area, and it's on average 1.5 meters wide, and that's it. So, to cut the story short, after really long legal analyses and consultations, we came to the following conclusions. One, basically the structure, if we wanted to intervene, the structure had to be demolished and we had to remove the protrusion from our neighbor's site. Two, the bulk of the villa or whatever, of the new villa or whatever will show above ground has to be contained within the old envelope of the old building. So basically, that was a polite way of saying that we were going to disguise it as a fake renovation of the old building in order to get the construction permit. Three, we started already flirting with the idea of placing a really long lap pool, the blue layer over there, within the legal band. So this would be the only legal part of the house. And frankly, we tried to think about functions, and this one was the only one that made sense to fit within a 1.6 meter wide band. And for the rest of the terrain, we had to play on the notion of pergolas, light temporary structures, and by light temporary structures, I mean structures in steel and wood, which are allowed to be implemented outside of the setbacks, as long as they're, in the eyes of the law, they're temporary and light. So, keeping in mind all the constraints above, we finally decided conceptually to really conceive this villa as a sort of a series of platforms or decks literally floating above the landscape and above the site, maximizing exposure to the sea and to the view, of course. And also by implementing something which we call the external circulation system. We did this because we really wanted to take advantage of being really smack on the beach and basically to benefit from the mild climate of the Mediterranean. So the lightness and the hovering effect of these wooden platform was achieved by adopting a really thin steel structure and also by the use of glass. Okay, so basically I'm going to take you quickly through the plans. It's a shame I can't really point. So in the lower plan below, this is the road level, and this is the parking platform. It takes you to the ground floor, which basically accommodates an informal living room, a sort slash entrance, 2 guest bedrooms, and a void onto the reception level below. Outside, on the brown hatched area, there's a landing. So at this landing, strategically, you have 3 choices. Either you go directly in through the stepped ramp, or you take the lowermost staircase. Again, you're still outside the house, to the reception level through the terrace and the infinity edge jacuzzi. And this level basically contains the reception areas, an island kitchen, and technical spaces behind. Or you can take the steel staircase, which is along the lap pool, and you arrive on the master level terrace. And on this level, the wooden deck actually wraps all around the element, creating really a sort of a jogging circuit and an elevated open air terrace overlooking the sea. Okay, in the above section, you really see the levels. So lower level is reception level, the infinity edge jacuzzi. The one above is the guest bedroom level with the double volume, a small technical attic, the master bedroom above, and this is a section cut through the lap pool, which, as you can see, has skylights. In the lower section below, you can see what I just referred to, which is the external system of circulation. So you have, it's not really clear here, you have the stepped ramp taking you directly to the mid-level, a concrete staircase that takes you to the reception level, and the steel staircase taking you to the master level above. This is a view of the completed skeletal system of the building. So basically what we did, we used really thin steel structure. It's made of H-beams, only 16 centimeters wide, and they are rhythmically spaced at 2.5 meters, and this module continues all over, and you can start seeing glimpses of the lab pool. And this one over here, you can see the various circulation systems. So this is the concrete staircase going downwards. This one is the stepped ramp. And this is the famous steel staircase, which is spanning really 12 meters in one go and takes you up to the upper level. It had to be tied for structural rigidity. On this one, it's a mock-up of the material palette that is to be adopted through all the project. So basically, it's really simple. It's steel. It's glass, and it's Burma-Tech wood that is 10 centimeters wide and 2 centimeters gap. Okay, so basically it is at this point that we encountered our next really big challenge, which was how to execute a suspended lab pool. You know, when you venture into custom design here, you risk really deviating from markets, industry, and standards. And the answer you receive very often is, it cannot be done, it's too expensive. And after we received all of those answers, okay, so basically just to wrap things up, we went to a fiberglass boat manufacturer and really fabricated the pool. So you can see here a typical module of the lab pool. This is the installation and the handling of the pool and the mounting. Now I'm going to run by you the images. So this is a view from the south, and you can see really the horizontality of the wooden platform floating above the landscape, the steel structure, minimum balustrades. This is the entry shot. So here you're standing at the strategic landing. You can see the concrete staircase down, the steel staircase taking you up, and this is the step ramp. Above you is the suspended lab pool with the skylights. Sorry. Above you is the lab pool with the skylights. So at night, these skylights emit a glow which guide you all through to the entrance. And another important point is when you open the door, immediately you have a direct relation with the sea established. This is a view from the north. Again, same relation to the site. This is the living room slash entrance. Again, basic material palettes, wooden ceiling, concrete tiles. This is a view from the same living room, but looking towards the horizon, you can notice that even the guest bedrooms have glass walls in order to minimize really the obstruction and to allow maximum exposure to the sea. A view of the internal staircase. Again, this is really standing above the void that overlooks the reception area. Total transparency. Reception level. Dining, kitchen. Reception level looking towards the outside, and you can see the infinity edge jacuzzi. Standing underneath the void with a double height transparency. This is the master bedroom. Total exposure to the horizon. It's the feeling of sleeping almost outside. Transparent WC with a skylight. Sunset on the reception terrace. and the blurred edge of jacuzzi and sea. This is a general view. And I will end with this image, which basically is taken on the roof terrace level. You can see the pool lit at night. And already you will notice the possibility of just sliding the door and taking a plunge in the pool. Thank you for your time.